Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to like this game, I really did. Look at it. Looks like a picturesque fairy tale. However, after just 10 minutes of gameplay, I was so frustrated I was almost ready to give up and quit. The game has you play as Baldo as you transverse through the world. It gets a bit strange. You chase some chickens and you fall down a hole. You meet an owl that gives you a horn, a magical horn at that, and off you go on your adventure. But that is the basic premise of the game, without spoiling it too much. Now, as we move on to gameplay, there's a lot of things that I want to point out here. One, the camera is fixed, so regardless of where you go, you're at the fixed camera angle's mercy. Now, it is compensated a little bit when you go off towards the front of the screen or to a darker area, the outline of your character is visible. Now, you're probably wondering why I said I almost quit after 10 minutes of the game. It's because the game doesn't tell you what to do. Doesn't tell you where to go. It really gives you no hints. So 10 minutes into the game, I still hadn't found Baldo's grandpa, even though later on I realised he was in the first house. I just happened to run the wrong way and travel throughout the whole village before finding him. Now there is a minimap that shows up in the corner, but the game fails to mention that the blue dot yes, that blue dot is your marker for where you need to go next. Apart from the minimap, there is a large map and, well, as you can see, it doesn't do anything. I don't know why you would even use this map. It doesn't tell me where I am, it doesn't tell me where to go, I don't understand what those circles are for. It feels like it serves no purpose. Well, dungeons have maps. You can only see the floor you're on, and it's not in the map section of the menu. It is in the weapons section. It's an odd choice, and it definitely made the game not feel well thought out in perspective of gameplay. Another issue I had with gameplay is there's no jumping mechanic, which I guess is fine, but when there was a lot of things like little waterways, or I could clearly see that across a box that I could get somewhere else, jumping mechanic would have felt nice and it would have made the game a little bit more comfortable to play. Next is just the difficulty of the puzzles. There's no hints in this game. At one point early on in the game, so spoiler free, you're accompanied by another girl, and when you first fall down into this area you need to light up 2 stones. Now what the game doesn't tell you is when you talk to the girl she stays still, and then when you talk to her again she'll follow you. It isn't explicitly explained that this happens and you have to figure it out for yourself. Outside of this, there is an enormous amount of satisfaction you feel when you finally succeed in completing a puzzle. Another drawback, which is an interesting one, but when you go into a dungeon, or at least in the first dungeon, the quest log just says dungeon as what to do. Maybe it's just an oversight, but some simple phrasing would have really enhanced the game experience. Perhaps something on the line of the lost galleon, discover the secrets within the sunken pirate ship. Sounds a little bit better than dungeon. The last thing to note with the gameplay is that getting game overs is quite frequent. However, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing, because even in dungeons, when you get a game over, you respawn in the exact room that you died in. And with all the rooms being very small, it really makes no sense to even use healing items because you can just die and respawn with full health. The soundtrack that they chose to use in Baldo is sweet and charming. However, at times, it is overpowered by this. Or this. I mean, what were they thinking? Also, the music can only be adjusted. You can't adjust any of the other sounds in the game. So you get this weird clash where you get the animal noises overpowering the lovely background track. Headphone users, you've been warned. Now, the visuals are pretty. The gameplay definitely has that fairy tale vibe. The cutscene animations during the early part of the game that I saw were beautiful, really well put together, and really showcased the abilities of the creators of this game. However, with the visuals, there were some obvious things that were lacking. For one, when you got a new quest or something, it would flash on the top of the screen continuously until you opened the menu and went down to that quest, even though when you were originally given the quest, all the information, you had to go through it to start the quest. So this was a little bit annoying, and it would have been nice if, yes, it popped up, but it wasn't so obtrusive. I also noticed in the first dungeon that there were some glitches with the graphics in which I was walking through walls and walking through objects with Baldo, and I don't think that's meant to happen. So take note that the graphics, whilst pretty and pleasant, they're not polished. So my final thoughts on Baldo and the Guardian Owls is that whilst the graphics are charming, the music is really lovely, and overall the presentation is quite nice, there's still a lot of issues with this game that need to be ironed out. I did see on Twitter that the developers are committed to making some updates, including some of the issues around maps and some of the issues around the game saving that people have. With all that in mind, definitely use some caution if you are thinking of purchasing this game, because in its current state, it can be rather frustrating, and I'm not sure it's worth the current price. Maybe wait for a sale, or wait until the developers have released some more patches and hopefully the game experience is improved for the future. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you do decide to pick up this game or already have it, and if you agreed or disagreed with my opinions today. And don't forget to like and subscribe this video for more gaming related content.